Hey YouTube family, welcome to Free Personal Training with me, Coach Russo. Today we're going to be learning how to do a squat with perfect form. Now, while there are tons of videos out there teaching you how to squat, I am going to be teaching you how to activate your internal stabilizers. Because the thing with visually looking at a squat, like if I'm looking at a squat, it may look like I'm doing it perfectly right, but I might not be using my internal stabilizers properly or at all. And the lesson I used to say is you could do 1,000 squats and not use your glutes once. You could do 1,000 perfect looking squats and not use your glutes once. And the issue is, and the reason is, we haven't learned the neurodynamics. We haven't learned how to use our brain while moving. And this is why when I teach squats, I don't just cue visuals. Okay, you've probably seen it before. Okay, feet out, slight turn, slight bend in the knees, push your hips back, weight on your heels, push your hips forward. Sure, that'll give you a nice looking squat, but are you actually using your internal stabilizers? So let's go ahead and break that down, okay? First internal stabilizer and most important function of the squat is the core muscles. Red shirt today, core strength. So I want to have this rock solid core, and what I do is I get a slight abdominal brace. If you don't know what that is, go ahead and watch our core power series, but we're going to be having a slight abdominal brace, and I'm going to maintain that core brace, and I do this by poking my abs. Go ahead, do it with me. So start poking your abs as I bend my knees, push my hips back. Now, in the powerlifting world, we call this the hole, because I'm in the hole, my hips are bent. I want to have a core brace in the hole. Most people, when they squat down, their abs get soft, and the lower they go, the softer their abs are. So here is me having perfect squat form, but my abs are soft, and that's going to load my back more. So we want to have a nice active core brace the entire time. Little secret, a lot of reason that I wear a weight belt is not necessarily to protect my back, but so I brace my core the entire time while I'm doing squats. Second internal stabilizer is the glute hamstring. I could use matrix or complex, but essentially it's this muscle right here, the tie-in right where that butt bone is. Now, the mistake is, and you see this, is people will lock out the squat by pushing their hips. Wow, glute squeeze. That's a myth, folks. All right, what you want to be able to do is, as I'm pushing my hips back, I'm able to feel like I'm pulling my hips down with my glutes. And if I put my hands here, I'm feeling these muscles stretch and stretch and stretch. Now, if you haven't done our classes and you haven't really learned how to activate your hamstrings, this might be a little tricky, but what you can imagine is, as I'm sitting back, I'm pulling myself down with my hips, pulling myself down with my hips, pulling myself down with my hips, and snapping, okay? So, you got two things, right? You got your core brace, and you got your glutes. So I'm bracing my core here, bracing, coming down, boom, coming up, okay? So, the last piece, and it's sort of, it's a stabilizer and a dynamic, so like essentially how you're going to motivate the movement of the squat is called a hip hinge. So a hip hinge is when my hips are bent or hinged, I want to push my hips forward. And like I had said before, the most common mistake people make is they hinge at the top, right? You don't want to hinge at the top, you want to hinge at the bottom. So from here, I'm coming forward. So if you watch me, this is a non-hip hinge squat. This is an improper squat. As I come like this, and you can see I'm not really driving my hips, right? And this is a lot of quads, as opposed to here, boom, boom, snapping my hips from the bottom. So if you haven't learned hip hinging, like I said, I invite you to come and do our classes. We work a lot of hip hinging because it is super important, okay? So let's go ahead, let's wrap this video up. We're gonna break everything down together with me. So from here, I could have gone over this at the beginning, but you already know probably. You're gonna start neutral stance, right? So my feet are right underneath my hips. I'm gonna open up one stride length, toes slightly turned out for what's called a squat stance, okay? So for a squat stance here, I'm in a squat stance. Now, we're gonna slightly bend our knees like we always do. We're gonna brace our core, okay? Slight brace. We're going to bend our knees, push our hips back, fire that deep glute, fire that deep glute, fire that deep glute, sit right in, snap the hips forward, okay? Let's do it again. Brace, load the hips, squeeze the glutes, load the hips, squeeze the glutes, and snapping up. That, my friends, is how you do a squat. It takes a lot of thinking at first, but as you practice, it gets a lot easier. And the thing is, when you do squats like this, firing the internal stabilizers, 3 amazing things are gonna happen, and then I'll finish the video. Number 1 is your likelihood of undergoing a repetitive stress injury due to too much joint loading is out pretty much completely. That's the whole point of stabilizers, is so that you do not excessively load your joints, okay? The second amazing thing is gonna happen is you're actually gonna start building muscle in the areas that you want, right? You've heard it, I wanna get a booty workout, do a billion squats. Well, if I'm doing squats like this, all quad load, no hip hinge, I'm not even gonna hit the glutes, right? So you're gonna be building muscle in the right areas, the core, the hips, and the legs. And the final piece, and this is very important for the word of the week of power, is doing a squat properly is going to maximize my probability of being able to do squats with more consistency, right? More frequency, more endurance, and more strength, okay? So proper form will give you more endurance and more strength, and that should be everyone's goal, honestly. So those are the reasons you should squat properly. Go ahead, if you haven't already, like our channel, subscribe, send this video to a friend who you know doesn't do squats properly, or someone who's interested in doing this, folks. I hope you guys do appreciate all the stuff that we're doing here. Thank you so much for tuning in. So go ahead, you can turn it off. If not, I just want to spend about 30 seconds to a minute addressing a question that had been asked to me, like, hey coach, are you gonna speak about what's going on in the world? You're gonna use your channel and use the people that you know. And here at You'll Be Fit Forever, here as Coach Russo, we have no opinion on outside controversies or causes. Now, we do this so we can maintain neutrality, and the reason is we want to be neutral is health to us is an unalienable right. Everyone has the right to be healthy, and everyone has the right to participate in their own health. So if we here at You'll Be Fit Forever, or as a coach, and we participate in outside issues or ally with any sect, denomination, or outside entity, what's going to happen is we're going to push people away, right? So we want to be all-inclusive, folks. This is an alliance. We want to be all-inclusive. So for that reason, we're going to remain neutral. So the long story short is no, I will not be addressing the issues in the world because I do not want to take a stance on public controversies or causes. However, I will say this, let's work on our health together. Let's get stronger. Let's get happier, and only good things can come of that, right? So thank you so much for tuning in. I'll be back tomorrow with another free lesson, and I'm Coach Russo, and this is You'll Be Fit Forever. Peace.